Hey there. Welcome to the next episode of the Small Business Made Simple podcast. Can't wait for you to hear my guest today because we are talking all about community, women in business, and how winning awards can actually help you as a marketing strategy. Hey, welcome to the Small Business Made Simple podcast, brought to you by socialmediaandmarketing.com.au. Being in business is never easy, but it can be simple, or at least simpler. Join me, your host Jen Donovan, every week where we focus on marketing, social media, and working towards simplifying your business. You with me? Let's do this.
Gonna dream it big, 'cause someone out there listening. Everyone's got a voice to give, and it's time I heard you whistling, 'cause there's no point at all, in dreaming small.
Hey there, my fabulous listener. Welcome to episode 99 of the Small Business Made Simple podcast. Look, I'd sing for you 99 red love balloons, but I really can't sing and I really don't think you need that in your life. But now that I have mentioned the song, you'll probably start singing it and it will be your earworm. And so you're welcome. Thank you as always for lending me your ears today. I cannot believe we are up to episode 99. And I know you have lots of choices out there, so I do appreciate you making me one of them. If you're a first-time listener, then hey, super welcome to you and welcome back if you are a long-term listener as well. I'm really happy to have you here. I am, of course, the host, Jen Donovan, and it's my podcast. It is my podcast, but it's also my job via this podcast and social media and just about everywhere else I hang out to make your business life simpler. I'm a thought leader when it comes to marketing here in Australia and a marketing strategist for small businesses because I know that business can be lonely and hard and complicated, and look, it's rarely easy, but it should be simple, or at least simpler. So that's my commitment to you on the so-named Small Business Made Simple podcast. This episode is, of course, sponsored by Spend With Us, www.spendwithus.com.au, a fantastic place for you to go and spend some of your Christmas giving budget. It supports over 600 rural and regional small businesses, and there are things for sale on Spend With Us that you just can't get anywhere else in this country. It certainly beats going to the multinationals and giving something that they'll probably already get as well. So go and check out spendwithus.com.au and support rural and regional small businesses. Today I have on the podcast my guest, Peace Mitchell. Peace, along with her sister Katie, run the Women's Business School and Ozmumpreneur. I was lucky enough to win some awards at Ozmumpreneur 2020 this year. In fact, I got to win silver and gold, and it was really a highlight of my business. And we all know that highlights in 2020 are definitely something we should be celebrating. But Peace isn't just here to talk about awards and winning awards. We're here to talk about community and why it's so important for you on your journey to surround yourself with community. No matter where you are on your personal journey or your business journey, we do touch on why applying for awards can be just simply part of your marketing plan and you really just need to stop overthinking it. And we talk about why having dreams and actually talking about them out loud is just so darn important. I'll let Peace tell you her story, but I'm super excited to have her on the podcast today. Peace Mitchell, I'm super excited to have you on the podcast. You've been someone that I've followed for a long time and have really looked up to. So I feel a little bit special that you're on the podcast today. But yeah, super welcome to you.
Thank you, Jen. I'm really excited to be here and chatting with you today.
Yeah, excellent. So Peace, for my audience who may not have followed you for so long, could you perhaps just introduce yourself and tell us, who you are and what it is that you do?
Sure. So in 2009, my sister Katie and I launched an online community called Ozmumpreneur. We've been around for 11 years now, and every year we celebrate the incredible mums in business of Australia. And we also recognised within that community that there was a real need for dedicated education for women. And we found that the other programs that are out there are really time consuming or else difficult for mums to access because they happen at times which aren't convenient when they're at home with their young kids. It's difficult to get to on campus things or nighttime events or those sort of things. So we created the Women's Business School so that we could provide streamlined education and time efficient activities. The assessment that goes with each module has been designed to be really practical so that you can implement it into your business straight away and start seeing results the following week. So that's something that I'm really passionate about. We launched the Women's Business School 4 years ago in 2016, and we've had 400 graduates through the program now.
Wow, that's amazing. Do you find that they're mostly mums? Like I know you've got the Mumpreneur brand, but Women in Business School, is it is it mainly mums that you attract, or is it women in business in general?
We mostly attract the mums in business
Yeah.
because that's who our community has been over the last 10 years. And the Mumpreneur brand is really strong and well known now, really well established. But we do also attract, we've had younger women who are pre-kids and they've got a tech idea, a tech startup that they're doing and they want to be part of this program. And also other women who are maybe their aunts or their stepmoms. And it's a really inclusive environment for all women.
Yeah, okay. So community is probably something we have in common, and building online communities. I'm so passionate about communities, and I know that you are too. But how has building communities, and that helped you in your business, as well as who you help? But how's it actually helped you grow your business?
Well, it's interesting. I started my business with my sister in a really small town. Our population is 8,000 people in Innisfail, where I'm from. And what we found when we started, because we had other businesses before we started Mumpreneur. So my very first business was a bikini design business. So
Ah,
I had no fashion experience. I didn't have a mentor to guide me. I was in this teeny tiny little regional town where no one knew anything about offshore manufacturing or how to get into David Jones or big retailers. And so I felt really isolated. And I know that the work that you do with Buy from the Bush is all about helping those women in places like that, in these tiny little towns where they don't have access to networking and events and getting that support in person. So my first business failed, but it was a big part of my eventual success because I realized that the lack of connection that I was facing was something women all over Australia were experiencing as well. And it wasn't just for the women in rural, remote and regional areas. So the challenge of distance for them obviously is huge. But what I was finding from talking to women who live in cities with young children, that they were feeling isolated as well, because there's not that many baby friendly networking events that you can go to. You can't go to the BNI and bring your baby. And also events like BNI, they have breakfast meetings, and that's the busiest time of day for mums with young children. So we wanted to create an online community where women could come together. They would always feel welcome and supported and included. They could share their challenges and their wins, and somewhere where they could find those connections they need to succeed. So if you needed an accountant or a graphic designer or the contact for the buying agent at Walmart or Harrods or anywhere at all, you could ask the question in the community and someone would know someone who could help you. So I really think that the power of community is incredible. And if it wasn't for community, we wouldn't be the success story that we are today. It really has been how we've built our business and everything we do.
yeah, yeah. And I love that, you could just, there's always someone who knows someone that either you need to know or knows where you need to go with that when you have a really strong community. I had an incident just in the last couple of weeks where, I needed to get in touch with Facebook for a client, and it was just like Facebook doesn't have a phone number and Facebook doesn't have an email address. So I basically called in all the favors I could think of all the people that I thought might be able to help me. And sure enough, someone knew someone whose auntie's nephew or something worked at Facebook. And, I got done what I needed to get done eventually. And I wouldn't be able to do that myself without the power of community. So, yeah, I guess that is one of the huge, powerful things is, there's always someone who knows something that can help you out and get you over whatever that hurdle is. You mentioned something like I know that, it's not just about rural based, and I certainly see that. And I think COVID has even exacerbated the fact that even though you might live in a city doesn't mean that you have everything you need or the connections that you need. But how can people sort of get over that challenge of isolation or that challenge of distance? Do you feel that, online sort of communities have really taken off because of that?
Absolutely. I feel that online communities can't replace face to face, but they certainly do have a role to play in providing support. And I think it's about having the courage to ask for help, because sometimes we don't. Sometimes we think we have to do it on our own. And I find this a lot with women in business. They feel like they've got to be a self-made success and they have to go through and they can't ask favors of anyone and all this kind of conditioning. And I think some of it comes from the education system where you're taught to compete and strive for individual achievement. I think that's a part of it. And just this idea that we should be able to do it on our own. And if we just worked harder, we'll be able to succeed. But actually, it's really important when you're struggling to speak up and reach out for help. And there's a lot of incredible, safe and supportive online communities that provide that space where you can ask for help. And like you said, there'll be somebody who knows someone who can help you. But the first step is always admitting that you need help and asking for that help.
Yeah. So I guess anyone who's sort of listening who perhaps is exactly that person that you just described, or maybe they're just sort of starting up in their business, what have you got any tips for them on what they should do as far as trying to find their community? Because not everybody is going to be their community. So how do people sort of find their community online?
That's a really interesting question. I guess by asking your friends and family, if you're not part of other groups, you'll often find that the people that you already know are parts of other groups, and they'll tell you. So personal recommendation, I think, is really powerful, because there are a lot of online communities and not all of them are as friendly and welcoming as others.
Mhm.
So getting that personal recommendation from a friend or someone you trust can really open the doors to what's out there and what's available.
Yeah, that's great. I love that because you often trust the friend, and I guess it's sort of following people on social media as well, and seeing what groups they're in and everything like that for sure. I just can't believe sort of how big communities are building online, and how, like, I know it can't replace face to face, but it sure is very close sometimes, as far as getting to meet people who you would never get to meet face to face because of distance or things like that.
Yeah, it's actually been incredible, the connections I've made through social media, and a surprising platform that for me in the last 2 years has really changed. I've been in business 10 years, but in the last 2 years, LinkedIn has been somewhere that has been unexpectedly incredible for my connections. And I remember meeting a lady from the UK who was publishing a digital magazine, and she asked me if I wanted to write an article for her. And so I wrote an article for her, and then we were promoting each other. I was promoting the magazine for her, and she was tagging me in her posts about the magazine. And through being part of her network, I then met the founder of Women in Tech, Ayumi Moreoki. And then Ayumi was running the Women in Tech Awards. And so then I nominated for those awards, became a finalist, and flew to Paris and actually met Ayumi and met Candace with her magazine, and have now met a whole community of other women from around the world from that one little interaction on LinkedIn where someone asked me if I'd like to write an article. So it's incredible the opportunities and experiences that social media can bring for you. and really open the door to the world and meeting people in person across the other side of the world. It has been an incredible experience.
Yeah, well, I love that story. That's so great. And it kind of feeds very well into my next question, which was kind of around those Mumpreneur Awards that you've been running. So you've had Mumpreneur for 11 years. Have you been running the awards for 11 years as well?
Yeah, we hosted our first Osmompreneur Awards in 2010. So we've been running them. I did have a year off in 2013 when I had my baby, but we've been running them every other year since then.
Yeah.
So
So how important are awards? Like I know there's some people might feel that they're not good enough to apply for award, or there's so many people out there who are doing bigger, better, brighter things than me. And I think I read something the other day about an imposter syndrome. It's like the quickest way to get over imposter syndrome is to realize you are one and just go, yep, okay, this is just the way it's going to be. But they can be quite life changing. And like you say, you got to fly to Paris and meet some amazing people simply from going through that process of applying for an award.
yeah, absolutely. I think awards are really powerful for women to enter and be part of. And the Osmompreneur Awards, watching that development over 10 years and the caliber of the women that we're attracting to the awards now, it's been quite incredible. And we've had the opportunity to be part of the story of some really successful businesses over the years who we were there when they first started out in business, and now 10 years later they're winning the Australian Export Awards, and they've got the best-selling sippy cup in Korea, and like they're a big deal now. But if they hadn't put themselves forward in the first place all those years ago, we wouldn't have met them, and we've been part of their story. And they won the first year that they entered, so they were brand new to the market, but this was something that they applied for, they got it, and then they were able to display that winner, the gold badge, on their products. And it does add credibility to your business. It does. People, if you're looking at two products on a shelf and one's an award-winning product and the other one's just a product, people go for the award-winning one. It does give you that level of credibility and status, and does position you in a higher place. The other thing that we found is that often we always send out a press release template for the nominees. And so people are going out and getting PR, and it's a great opportunity for the local media to do a story on you. And so some of the PR opportunities people have got have been incredible. We've had people who've appeared on The Project, on Sunrise, on The Today Show, all of those kind of TV shows, but on radio, on international media, on blogs and podcasts and all kinds of different things, just by being nominated. And sometimes they've nominated themselves. So they've really put themselves forward and made the most of this opportunity. And I think as a business owner, you always need to be looking for opportunities and looking for ways that you can put yourself forward. You can't just sit back and wait for the opportunities to come to you. No one's going to just knock on your door one day and say, oh, hello, here's a gold trophy, well done. You have to be actively putting yourself out there, writing the application, submitting it. And then when you are nominated, you need to send that press release out to the TV, the 7 News local and the local paper, because the more that you put yourself forward, the more opportunities you get. And you won't get every single one. Not every person who writes the project gets on the project, of course, but the more you put yourself out there, the more opportunities will come for you. So yeah, I love the awards. And the other thing that I should say is that women enter our awards and they kind of think of themselves as, running a bit of a hobby business, and they're just doing it on the side. And then when our community, because our community are the judges of these awards, when someone recognizes them and says, you're doing something really important, they see themselves differently. And that change in their own mindset is the thing that really propels them forward. And they start seeing themselves as a business owner, as an entrepreneur, and that change of mindset, then that's the thing that takes them to the next level. So I love awards, and it's really interesting being part of them from my side of the awards, and then entering awards and being part of that. I love that as well, because I know about how to leverage awards because I run one. So then when I enter other awards, it's all about, I'm always networking with the other nominees in my category and introducing myself to them, and then reaching out to the judges and saying hi to them, and connecting with the organizers and saying, is there anything I can give you a hand with? And so that's been really powerful as well. And I just recommend it for every business owner. It doesn't matter what stage you're at, start looking at what awards are out there, because there's a whole host of awards for whoever you are and whatever you're doing.
Yeah. So you said something at the very start of that, which I just wanted to hone into a little bit more, and that is sitting back and waiting to be nominated as opposed to putting yourself out there and self nominating. I think there's a real stigma about self-nominating. I know I felt it for many years. It was kind of like, oh, I'd love to go in that award, but I'll wait for someone to nominate me. No one did. Time passed. And then I kind of decided to self-nominate. I was lucky enough for the Oz Mumpreneur Awards this year that, you know, a gorgeous friend of mine nominated me. But there's not the stigma, is there? Like, you know, we really should be going, you know what? I'm going to put myself out there because I know that I'm good at this, or I know that I can help more people if I can get more people to know who my brand is or what it is that I do.
Absolutely. I really think entering awards is part of your marketing strategy. And you don't go, oh, well, I want to put a Facebook ad up, but I won't. I'll just sit here and maybe the customers will just find my website magically. Like, it's not, that's not how it works. And entering awards is the same. They can't give you a trophy unless you nominate for the award and put in your application. And you have to put yourself forward. You have to promote your business. You do have to tell people about what you're doing. Otherwise, they're never going to find your website. And it's just one more way to get the word out about what you do.
Yeah, I've never heard it described like that as part of your marketing strategy. I love that. I will be pinching that and pushing more people into that, because I find there is a real pushback when I talk about awards, about people self-nominating. So I think, you know, putting it in that language is perfect. Thank you. That's love. Yeah, that's awesome. I love that.
I think it's really important. And I've spoken to people, to men who run business awards for men and women. And what they found is that the men are all nominating. They get plenty of nominations for men, but the women don't. They're more likely to hold back and oh, I'm not ready yet. Maybe next year when my financials are better, I'll put myself. And like, the men are getting all the opportunities and they're getting all of the exposure. And that's why I'm so passionate about women's awards as well, because we need this opportunity.
Yeah. And of course, you know, you were just amazing this year at taking your awards online, because, you know, your awards are normally, you know, held in big places with glorious, you know, nights where everyone gets to have their hair done and their makeup done and buy a new dress and everything. And of course, you've had to go online this year. And I think it was an incredible job that you did, but it must have been a huge decision for you guys, or a huge jigsaw puzzle to complete.
Thank you. It was a big thing to do, but I've since heard that a lot of other awards programs have been cancelled for 2020. They just said it's too hard to pivot from an in-person event to online, so we're just not going to do it. But I think the advantage we had is that we've been using Zoom for years, because we started our business in regional Australia in a tiny little town. We've always had to do things online. So as much as we love being together and being in person, our community, because they're all mums, are used to being online and working from home and using tech to connect. So our community really got behind us and supported us when we said, instead of in-person events, we're taking this online. And we actually pulled it together quite quickly, which was incredible. And and another one of those, you know, moments where you had to overcome all those fears and the self-doubt that we're not going to be able to do this in time. This is too much. We're going to be exhausted. Can we really do 9 hours on Zoom for 4 days in a row? And how on earth are we going to pull this off? But I think as business owners and as mums, you just do what has to be done. And we felt it was really important this year, more than ever, to provide an opportunity for women to celebrate their achievements. And in particular, because Victoria's been in such a long lockdown and our awards happened, you know, when they were in hard lockdown. Things have eased now, but at that time it was hard for them. We really wanted to provide them with something to look forward to, an opportunity to come together and be with other women. And we ended up giving out free tickets to any Victorian members who wanted to be part of the festival, so that they could come along and just be supported and be part of the community. And I've had so many stories from those women of how important this really was to them, just knowing that they weren't alone and being inspired by the other women who were doing different things in their businesses and had to pivot and reimagine things and try new things. And so I'm really proud that we did go ahead with the awards. We could have just cancelled it, but we said, no, we'll try and do it online. And it was a real success, and our community really valued that.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. I can only half imagine like some of the amazing feedback you would have got, purely for giving us delight when perhaps delight was hard to come by. Now, the other amazing thing that you've done, Peace, recently, which, for me is kind of like super amazing because, it's something that I would like to do eventually, is a TED Talk. So just like to quickly end, I guess, having a little chat about that. How was that, and how was the process to get to that for you?
Thank you. Yeah, it was quite a journey. It was a roller coaster. I have been wanting to do a TED Talk for at least 4 or 5 years. I've been actively talking about it and saying, one day I'm going to do a TED Talk. And I didn't know what my topic was going to be. I wasn't sure what the story was, but I knew I wanted to do it. I knew that I could do it. I have done public speaking. We run conferences every year for the Mompreneur community. And so I knew that it was a goal that I could achieve. But those fears and self-doubts kept coming up. Who am I to do a TED Talk? I'm not Brene Brown. I'm not a world famous researcher. I'm not an incredible storyteller like Elizabeth Gilbert. Who am I to get up there on the stage? And there was a realization, a moment that, what does holding back your gifts and your message and your story, what impact does that have on the world? Why would you do that? Why would you not share what you have to say with the world because of your fear? And I realized that I had no excuse. Fear wasn't a big enough excuse for me to not do this, to not follow my dream of doing this, but also take my community with me, because the topic that I chose was the connection economy. And it was the story of the beautiful community that support me and surround me, and that my sister and I have created over the last 10 years. And so in the end, I wasn't just doing this for me, it was for all of us. And I knew that by me doing this, it would inspire other women to do this. Like you, Jen. I'm now inspiring you that, okay, she did it. She was terrified. Her inner critic was saying she wasn't Brene Brown or Elizabeth Gilbert. She wasn't good enough or qualified enough, but she did it. So then now you're thinking, okay, well, maybe 2021 will be my year for TEDx. And I knew that if I did this, it would encourage other women to do it as well. So yeah, it's been a really interesting journey. I've had to overcome a lot of fears and self-doubt and the voice of the inner critic. There were 8 speakers on the night, and I think 5 of them had PhDs. So they were Dr. Kate and Dr. Brendan and Dr. Stewart. And here was I, just, this mum from Innisfail. And yet I knew that I had an important message to share and an important idea worth sharing, which is what TED's all about. And so, yeah, I reached out for help though. As I was saying before, you don't have to do it on your own. There's people all around you who can help you. And I had a beautiful person who helped me with my speech, with helping develop my topic, with helping clarify my stories and my storytelling, so that then when I got up there on the night, I was confident that I was telling my story. I was sharing an idea that was different to any other information that was out there, and that I was really able to get my message across in a powerful way. So yeah, it's been an interesting journey. And I think a bit like entrepreneurship, we learn so much about ourselves and personal development through each experience we do. And I've certainly learned a lot about myself this year through the TEDx process.
Yeah, I think that's so lovely to hear because at the start of the interview, you were talking about how you've been in business for 11 years and you've been doing, the Osmompreneur brand and things like that. So to hear from someone that, there's still those fears that we need to get over and we're still stepping out of our comfort zones. We're not running businesses day to day and just, plodding along. We are still inspiring. We're still making ourselves stretch, most certainly, like, stretching the brain, stretching our audience and inspiring other people. So I think it's a really good lesson for everyone to hear that no matter where you are in your business, I guess sometimes fear doesn't disappear, especially if you're stepping outside your comfort zones.
Yeah, absolutely. And there's always that next level up. And I think that's what happened to me. I was hitting that upper limit and I had to get through that to be able to do this. And no matter how long you've been in business, I know people who've been in business 20 years and more, and they're still facing challenges and obstacles and self-doubt in different areas as they go into new and bigger things. So yeah, it's definitely an interesting journey.
Peace, thank you so much. You've been so inspiring today, both through talking about awards and TED Talks and community as a whole. I can't wait to listen to your TED Talk. For my audience, when is it coming out?
It'll be out next month in November.
Beautiful. Okay. I'm not quite sure when this will go live, but if it's live by the time the interview goes live, then I will definitely link to it. Peace, thank you so much. For anyone who wants to get in contact, what's the best way to get in touch with you?
Well, you can find me on LinkedIn as Peace Mitchell. Just search for my name. We also have Instagram for Osmompreneur and the Women's Business School, and of course, Facebook for both Osmompreneur and the Women's Business School as well.
Yeah, beautiful. Okay. I will, of course, link to all that in the show notes as well. Thank you so much again for inspiring us with your story. And yeah, can't wait till 2021 and see what that holds for everything.
Wonderful. Thank you so much for having me, Jen. It's been a real delight chatting with you today.
Pleasure. Thanks. I hope that we have inspired you to perhaps add applying for awards to your marketing plan next year. It's certainly going to be on mine. And if you'd love to join me, then I think we could drink some champagne together for sure. All the links to Peace's businesses at both the Women's Business School and also Osmompreneur are in the show notes at socialmediaandmarketing.com.au/99. But that's it for episode 99. I will be back next week for episode 100, and it's going to be a cracker because I'm actually going to talk about something I've never talked about. Well, actually, I'm going to talk about a marketing strategy that I've never talked about on this podcast. And I think you'll be really surprised at what this marketing strategy is. So surprised you actually might go, Jen, seriously, what the heck? When you hear about this marketing strategy that I haven't talked about in 99 episodes. It's going to be really good. Come back and have a listen. But in the meantime, have a fabulous week. And if you're enjoying this podcast, please hit that subscribe button and maybe share with another superstar business owner who's doing that daily grind and would really appreciate you making their business life a little bit simpler. If you've got time to leave a rating and a review, then hey, I would love that so much. Thank you so much to Shay Bianco, who did leave me a review, and she said, yes, finally an actionable podcast that is to the point. No 10-minute intro or fluff. Expert tips that are delivered by an energetic way by Jen. Plus, she has the best intro music ever. Thanks, Shay. And look, I totally agree. I love my intro music. It took me days and days and days and days to find it all the way back 99 episodes ago, but I still love it today. And it reminds me of picking out a wedding dress. If you still love it all this time later, then it must have been a good decision. And I feel that way about my intro music. But anyway, guys, I will see you back on the podcast next Thursday for episode 100. And in the meantime, though, I'd really love to get on social. You'll find me at Instagram at Small Business Made Simple, on Facebook at Social Media and Marketing Australia. And of course, you'll find me as Jen Donovan on LinkedIn. But whatever you do, my small business peeps, remember, as my opening song says, there is no point in dreaming small.
Like a present. proud, be true, and let us see you for the star that you are. No point in dreaming small.